Peace, love, and light, Islam. On the behalf of the entire organic nation, the entire population of the Amexem-Empire Constitutional-Monarchy, I welcome you. This is the Amexem-Moor-Empire video presentation, the 10th in this series. You could have been in a lot of places doing a lot of things, however you chose to be here. We give honor, thanks, and gratitude to you for a few minutes of your time. You choose to stay with us for the entire length of this presentation. And what we have to say here, if it resonates in your spirit, by all means, act accordingly. There are many things happening across this planet that we are observing. When I say we, the Amexem-Empire Imperial Government in the service of the entire population of the Amexem-Empire Constitutional-Monarchy. We're looking at flooding. We're looking at the ramifications from smoke that was all over North-Amexem at one point. And with the ramifications of flooding from tsunamis, I meant to say typhoons. We're looking at a wide variety of things happening across this planet now to see how they impact commerce and trade, to see how they impact the quality of lives all across this planet. And the reason why we do this is because our planning for our imperial government operations down to the local level, we had to be practical, we had to be sensible, we had to be long-ranging, we had to be pragmatic. We had to work to save lives and improve the quality of lives. And to do that, we had to be well-informed. So we take in a massive amount of information on a daily basis. It gets processed through 12 departments and 39 sub-departments for us to look at the various vantage points of each department and sub-department on any particular matter. We do this so that we can find out through proper analysis what is the best course of action for the Amexem-Empire Imperial Government to take in any manner of discourse and international discourse in the service of the entire population whom we serve. So to do that, we must be practical, we must be sensible, we must be timely. Now, we don't always get things right the first time, however, we are consistent and we are persistent. And we work issues and we work issues and we work issues till we get things sorted out properly. So we can be coherent, be cohesive, and be able to proceed in a manner that is effective. That is who we are. That is how we proceed. Because the work that we do is not merely for our generation, it's for all of our posterity. And the things that we do now that end up in our reports, our after action reports, and things of this nature, these are in our official records. And generations from now, our posterity will see how things were done in this era. It may provide them with guidance, direction, and support in what they'll be doing in their era. So basically, our learning curve becomes their learning curve. And right now, some of the things that we're looking at very hard is the impact of all the weather patterns across the planet. Very hot in particular areas, record heat in particular areas, drought in some areas, a loss of water in particular areas, and flooding in other areas. Certain cities are literally underwater, and you can literally see this is going to hold for a few days before these waters begin to recede. What impact does that have on crops that have been grown? What impact does that have on transport of various goods and products for use, internal and external? What does that do to supply chains across the planet? What does that do to the cost of food, the cost of fuel, the cost of textiles? Where does this all go? How does it impact you in your home? How does it impact the Amexem-Empire nationals in our homes? And why? What can we do to mitigate particular circumstances? How can we improve things? Are there alliances that can be formed? Should they be formed? To what degree? What are the terms? Are they reasonable? Are they acceptable? If so, for what time duration? A wide variety of things must be looked at, must be contemplated and discerned upon. I don't speak for the other houses of the Moors. I only speak for the Amexem-Moor-Empire population. This is the work that we do and how we proceed. We have to. We must. So when we prepare our fiscal budgets, they're based upon reports throughout the previous year. And reports determine how things could possibly go in the future. Past behavior can inform you of how things will go in the present and into the future. And our learning curve largely comes out of our after action reports, those experiences. Having textbook information is one thing, doing a lot of uh, mock operations, as some would say. It's like shadow boxing, or it's like punching on the bat that doesn't punch back. It's all well and good until you actually are doing the real thing. Planning for and going through the real thing requires us having plans, backup plans, backup plans to the backup plans, and backup plans to the backup plans. We discuss this on a regular basis because we have to make sure everyone is clear. Those that choose to participate within the Amexem-Moor-Empire, we have a certain way of behavior pattern, a certain way of thinking, acting, and speaking. And you will inculcate it into your system. It's wise to do so. We are forward thinking and we move collectively. That requires all of us to be informed. Some of us learn things faster than others. Some learn better by actually doing, some by observing, some by listening, some with their hands, some by any combination of any of the things I just mentioned. Some pick up material very quickly. Some you have to work them through things repeatedly for a while before they finally grasp all the aspects. Taking all those things into account, we have to do that on a daily basis, a consistent basis. This feeds our success. Now, across this planet, there had been a plan that was inculcated by particular parties. It led to global lockdowns. It impacted commerce and trade. No one was immune. Whether you had a substance-based economy or a non-substance-based economy, no one was immune. So certain things slowed down for many folks across this planet, including within the commerce and trade of the Amexem-Moor-Empire through our global common market. Hard reality. Several are rebounding, some slower than others. We are rebounding slowly. So we look at how certain things go across this planet. You have those who engage in what they call quote unquote banking. And banks all across the planet are in significant trouble. Commercial real estate has been dragging down several of them. You've got a whole lot of toxic debt that were on their books before the event went down that led to what they call a lockdown of many parties across this planet. I give thanks that the Amexem-Moor-Empire is neutral and we weren't impacted by particular things because it's outside of our jurisdiction and venue, and no one dictates to us who we are and how we proceed with our discourse and international discourse. We don't contract into particular things, so whatever they are speaking to for folks does not apply to us. But there are many folks that we do know that suffer under particular things that they were contracted into. And these things impacted the bottom lines of many across the planet. So, what did that lead to? Parties that had desired to acquire items that couldn't. There was no financial means to do it. And those that did have financial means, in certain cases, there were no supplies available to acquire. Supply chain issues. It'll take a few Earth years for it to sort out through all of those things to get things back on the track that folks are familiar with. That's how reasonable folks would think. The hard reality is the recovery for many is a very far off thing, if at all, because there are other things conspiring against various parties across this planet getting back on their feet financially in a collective basis. We're looking at South Amexem right now, and we're seeing parties seeing devaluation of the worthless paper that they use. And although they had a recent find of shale oil, they're having massive concerns and may default on their debts. You're seeing this happen right now in the Far East. And there's contagion now, ripple effects, various economies, as some would call it. They are in severe pain. And parties are going to do trade wherever they are hired to do trade and not being paid for months on end. Even those that are supposed to be officials in some capacity, not being paid for months on end. And may not ever be remunerated, never be paid. Not out of the question. How did things get so far? Intentional poor planning portends poor performance. And when the masses are uninformed, those playing the game that are their franchisee management operators, that parties misnomer as so-called government, they know that the population that they are acting as overlords on, as opposed to collaborating with for the greater good, they are woefully uninformed, don't know what questions to ask, don't know what to do about their predicament. And so the actors engaging in franchisee management, they play the game that keeps the uninformed uninformed. In the era of information is readily available. However, most folks are not truly interested in information. They're more concerned with being edutained. They're looking for distraction. So they'll spend hours upon end in virtual reality, hours upon end, video gaming. Time and place for that, don't get me wrong. They also spend hours upon end on social media working up their mental hygiene issues and their loneliness issues. None of that solves what's before them. There have been 4 coups in recent times on the west coast of the Alkebu-lan and the Ab.Zu. 4. Go back to the Al-Sabata district, 5. 4 of them are though far more recent. In the area of all 5 of these coups, ask the legitimate question. Post-coup operation, what has changed? What has improved the quality of life for those in the areas where they're the population where the coups went down, where they occurred? What has changed? It's not hard to tell. The answer is nothing. To my kith and kindred over in Northern-Amexem, they are watching particular parties doing all they can to drag them back into Jim Crow era, basically Jim Crow 2.0. They insist on participating in that system. They insist on funding that system, funding their own demise in the process. The ancestor, El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, was very clear, allowing a colonizing hostile to indoctrinate your offspring in their public warehouses or private warehouses, some call quote-unquote schools. That's for the foolish. There are those that speak to the issue of putting their offspring in quote-unquote charter schools that are centered towards our kith and kindred, still using scholastic requirements and lesson plans from the colonizing hostiles, where they lie to you. They'll tell you is quote unquote calendar year of 2000 and change. Yet mitochondrial DNA of the Homo sapiens sapien goes back well over 300,000 Earth years. The science has proven this. Yet they perpetuate the lie that it's 2000 whatever on the particular calendar. They will tell you that Cristobal Colon discovered somewhere where there were parties already there when he got there. On any exam they give you, if you say otherwise, they mark it wrong. It is illogical for any melanated man or woman to allow their offspring to still be lied to in this era of information. At a certain point in time, you can no longer blame the colonizers and the hostiles and the melanated puppets. No. The fault is on the one in the mirror now. There are choices. You're looking for a way out. The Amexem-Moor-Empire Imperial Government provides that way out. If you are certified as an instructor, a quote-unquote teacher in the foreign jurisdiction, you may get reciprocity within the Amexem-Moor-Empire and be an instructor within the Amexem-Moor-Empire Imperial Learning Agency. We don't teach those lies. You have a particular talent and skill in the form of dentistry or oral surgeon or in the medical profession, you may get reciprocity and privileges within the Amexem-Moor-Empire Department of Health and File Therapy. You don't have to play games that they have you playing. We can actually heal folks for real. Not control the health issue, get rid of the health issue. You don't have to go to the colonizers and hostiles to establish a business, melanated man and woman. The melanated heterosexual men and women across this planet may establish their business within the Amexem-Moor-Empire. Bring your talents and skills here. You don't need them, and it's time for you to let them go. You want to start that process? In the description of this particular video presentation are the links on the website that we influence, modernmonarchy.squarespace.com. You may go to modernmonarchy.squarespace.com and find all the forms to amalgamate within the Amexem-Moor-Empire jurisdiction and venue to formally, officially become one of us. You find the forms to establish a business within the Amexem-Moor-Empire. You may find the forms to get an annual subscription into the Amexem-Moor-Empire non-surgical universal healthcare plan. If the issue you have is bacterial, chemical, fungal, or viral, be it acute or chronic, we fix it. Not control it. Solve it. Fix it. It's time. Bring your talents and skills here. Doesn't matter where you are on the planet. If you're a melanated heterosexual, we welcome you amongst our ranks. We have 9 sector governments across this planet. They are regional governments, district, and local governments. And the command positions in each of them have to be filled. We train you to do that type of thing within our 12 departments and 39 sub-departments. We train you on how to establish, operate, and maintain a business within the Amexem-Moor-Empire, whether the business be a trading business or a services business. Our commerce and trade funds our fiscal budget laws, which funds the infrastructure. The infrastructure, independent of the colonizers and hostiles, saves lives and improves the quality of lives. Not theory. We're on more than one continent right now. We speak 16 different languages right now. So I don't care if you speak Tagalog, Dagbani, Marathi, Patois, Creole. Don't care if you speak English, Moravia, so called Arabic. Don't care if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Hausa, Mandingo, Mendi, Sepedi, Serer, Sango, Wolof, Kiswahili. Doesn't matter. I don't care what language you speak. You're welcome here, melanated heterosexuals. You're welcome here. Come with us. We don't do the caste system thing here. We don't do the classism thing here. We don't do the glass ceiling thing here. Men and women serve on the Amexem-Moor-Empire Imperial Council right now. In fact, we have more women as sub-department heads than we have men right now. We don't play that nonsense here. I don't care what your faith is. It's not my business. We have Seventh-day Adventists here. We have Buddhists here. We have Muslims here. We have Hebrew Israelite here. I don't care if you pray or don't pray. I don't care what you do or don't do as long as you don't breach the Amexem-Moor-Empire Constitution. Not my business. What you do in your private capacity. Live and let live. Do what you do. Just do it over there away from me. We don't do the tyranny thing. Organic diplomacy and governance, maintaining the port operations, logistics operations, and salvage operations. Organic diplomacy and governance, yeah, we do that part. Franchisee management, we don't have time for that nonsense. We're not here for that. That's done. Unconscionable contracts, those days are over. Done. We train you to be unencumbered. We train you to get your language straight so that you don't engage in arenas in a manner where you get yourself re-encumbered. We deal in substance, not non-substance. All these things you'll find through a careful investigation of the work that we do. And that starts at the works that we influence, modern-monarchy.squarespace.com. Go to that particular website. Write down your questions. We do video forums. We do audio forums. The information for the public forum, which is audio form, is in the description of this video. But not hard to find. If anything I say to you here resonates in your spirit, contact us at your leisure. We'll be right here. At this point, I'm going to take my leave. Until we all gather again, may all of you and all of us, may we all find a way to be humble but dignified, always firm, to love and respect ourselves and each other. May it be that all of us find a way to be honorable, right, and just at all times, to be a positive and constructive inspiration unto all who we engage or are engaged by. May all of us be healthy and productive, prosperous in every way, kept safe and unmolested, especially as we go about our travels. Do keep the Imperial Council an eye in the ethers that we do great work in the service of all of you at all times. That we do effective work in the service of all of you at all times. And with that, everyone, peace, love, and light unto all of you. Islam, Islam, Islam.